So let's start by settling the body, adopting a stable, comfortable, upright position serviceable for meditation. So I think about keeping our feet flat and our back straight, torso open, hands in the lap, right over left, with the palms upturned and the thumbs gently touching. Our eyes are gently closed or slightly open, making sure we let in enough light to remain alert. We try to maintain an awareness of not slouching, not leaning. But we also let go of any unnecessary tension or rigidity in the body, relaxing into a stable, comfortable, upright position, just allowing the body to fall into place. And we begin to let go of attending to the outside world, allowing sights and sounds to be as they are without investigation, constraining our awareness just to the body and mind. Beginning to concentrate that awareness in the present by attending closely to the physical sensation of the air as it moves into and back out of the tip of the nostrils. Noticing quickly when anything other than that one physical sensation is rising in the mind, and then without judgment or frustration, lifting our awareness up from those distractions and placing it gently but firmly again and again on the breath. And then, when the mind feels more calm, we generate a broad, altruistic motivation for our time, thinking that I myself deeply wish to be happy, deeply wish to be free of even the slightest suffering. And I have that in common with every other sentient being. And yet I am only one, and all other sentient beings are numberless, uncountable. And so to work only for my own aims would not fulfill my potential. Instead, I ought to become interested in working on behalf of every sentient being, not being satisfied with just my own happiness. I have the unique intelligence of a human being, and I have a genuine interest in spirituality. So to make use of this combination, it should go beyond merely self-interest. And my ability to be of benefit to others depends upon how deeply familiar I am with constructive, beneficial states of mind, how successful I am in reducing and ultimately eliminating negative, destructive states of mind. So transforming my mind, becoming deeply familiar with virtue, distancing myself from non-virtue is the purpose of my time and the fundamental purpose of my life. And then with that motivation, visualize that there are three people seated in front of you, facing you. The person on the right is a dear friend, loved one. The person in the middle is also someone you know and someone that you have some conflict with. And the person on the left is someone whose image you can bring to mind, but that you don't know. Perhaps you saw them briefly in a public place yesterday, earlier today. Try to imagine these three people are seated and facing you. And then move your awareness to focus on your loved one. And notice what arises in the mind. A sense of warmth, comfort, and feeling of ease. And think back over your relationship with this person. Try to think of the reasons that you've become friends. Does this person have a lot in common with your values, your interests? Do they seem thoughtful, interested in your well-being? Are your reasons primarily in relation to just yourself? How you get along with them and how they treat you more than anyone else? And move your attention to the difficult person. Notice again how the mind changes. The wish to be separated from them arises. A sense of distance, perhaps even hostility, arises. And again, think back over knowing this person. Before your very first interaction, you didn't respond in that way. You wouldn't have if you shared an elevator or a cab ride. But over time, you develop that aversion. And why is that? Do you feel like they've acted against your own interests? That they hold values, priorities that are very different than your own? Again, uncover if a self-centered approach is at the root of how you respond. And then move your mind to the stranger and notice how a sense of indifference arises in the mind. And ask again why you think that is. This is a person who hasn't yet been able to benefit you. They also have not been able to act in ways that you find harmful. So, question again if the self centered attitude is the root cause of feeling that indifference. Then move your awareness back to your friend and imagine that they began to act in ways that were hurtful, ways that you found unacceptable. Would that sense of warm heartedness be affected? Can you think of examples in your life when that sense of closeness dissipated when they acted in different ways? And then move your awareness back to the difficult person and imagine that they do something kind. They praise you, they offer to help you. Perhaps they apologize for mistakes that they've made. And try to think if your mind would regard them differently. Would you be able to develop a sense of warmth and closeness? Are there examples of this happening in your life? And then attend to the stranger again. And again, imagine that he or she also shows kindness, also demonstrates that they have things in common with you. Could you imagine striking up a friendship, no longer feeling that sense of indifference? And having analyzed in this way, try to recognize that these labels of friend, enemy, stranger that we put on other people are changeable, fickle, insubstantial, driven by the ego, and what all of these sentient beings have in common is that they are suffering sentient beings. So there's no valid reason for caring only about the friend, no valid reason for having animosity toward the enemy, no valid reason for feeling indifferent toward the stranger. If we regard all sentient beings through the lens of understanding them as suffering sentient beings that deserve equally to be happy, to be free of that suffering, then we can relate in a deeper way. It doesn't involve our own ego. So, thinking in that way, try to give rise to that sense of equanimity. Trying to look past that superficial label. If that feeling of equanimity arises, try to rest your mind in it without distraction. And then when you're ready, we'll come back together. And we'll dedicate. So recollect your altruistic motivation and think that by having engaged in this contemplation, you've actualized that motivation, which has generated positive energy in your mind. And think that you freely offer the fruit of your practice, that positive energy for the benefit of all sentient beings without exception. Thinking strongly when that positive energy ripens, may it serve as a cause and condition to eliminate war and conflict, poverty, famine, disease, disasters, all painful inner and outer conditions. May it fully ripen the minds of all sentient beings. May they quickly meet perfect teachers and arise in the state of full enlightenment. May I too achieve the state of enlightenment so that I might work for the benefit of sentient beings perfectly. May any obstacles facing the Guru's long life be completely dispelled. And may I and all sentient beings in this moment come under the joyful care and guidance of enlightened beings. May we be guided and protected until we swiftly achieve that state of enlightenment. Thank you.
Thank you, Venerable.